Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the German tier 9 medium tank, the E50. Now, this video we are going to get the 100% on the E50. And there's a little story that went with it for the replays, and that is that I basically played a game in the E50 because, you know, this is one of my favourite tanks of all time in this game. It's always been so much fun to play, and it's just, the tank is me, okay? It's got an accurate gun, it's got great mobility, it's got pretty damn decent armour, not infallible, but it's decent, and it's, if you use it correctly, it can serve you pretty damn well, and you can be just so aggressive in it, you can ram people for a lot. It's just the aggressiveness that I like, pretty much. What I like in my tank that's not a derp gun is essentially the way I'd put the E50. And I always loved this tank. Back from when it was pretty damn brokenly, well, it wasn't broken, but it was OP back in the day, and then they nerfed it into the absolute floor, and it became like, oh, this tank's not very good anymore. Well, it's not great anymore. And then 6.0 came along, they've given it the odd buff here and there, which I've covered in other videos, and the accuracy got far better with 6.0 with the crew skills and stuff like that, and, you know, the tank became, again, just a hell of a lot of fun to play. And the tank's just always been enjoyable for me. Like I say, just the playstyle of the tank is me, absolutely all over. And I played a game in it. And I think it was about 5,000, 6,000 damage, something like that. And we were at 99.9. And I was like, hang on a minute. I mean, I've always been sitting in the 98, 99 region. It just naturally sat there. But I was at 99.9, and it was like, hang on a minute. I'm going to have to go for this, aren't I? You know what? Screw it. I don't like the gold marks. I don't think they look very good. I wish that I could just, you know, hitting 100% unlocked the ability to have whatever colour mark I wanted. The very next game, I ended up doing about 2,500 damage, got AVRE'd, set on fire and died for one shot, which was always this is always a great fun time, right? And we died having only done 2,500 damage, and we dropped from 99.9 to 99.2, which was fun. And yeah. Then I played the next game, had another game which was about 6 or 7k, put it up to 99.8, and I was like, yes! Let's go! You know what? One more game will do it. And then I had a game where I basically bounced tons of shots and stuff like that. It was just like one of those games, you know, it's exceptionally like super heavy orientated in terms of the way that the makeup of the enemy team is. There was like 2 mouses and a type 5 or 2, and I basically bounced tons of shots with my APCR rounds, and to the point where I ended up running out of APCR and only did like 2,000 damage. I bounced off the ass of a mouse with standard rounds, and I went, you know what, if I'm going for this 100%, screw it, we're going to go full gold, because the E50 does have the problem that you only have 220 penetration on your standard AP, which when you're facing a lot of tier 10s, which tier 9 does a lot, and like this game is basically mostly tier 10, that you're seeing in front of you, 220 pen doesn't serve you very well. And 270 pen that you have on the premium APCR, which is great velocity-wise, does also struggle a little bit in of itself when you get into the more heavily armoured tanks. And when annoying tanks like the AVRE decide, you know what, I want to try and kill you, you need the ability to be able to pen things. Now, fortunately enough for me in that instance there, the AVRE came full send and absolutely failed and died, which was great, because that's basically what the AVRE did to me in that game where I did 2,500 damage. He just went, oh, an E50, drove over, full blazes in front of everyone, bounced all the shots off his shovel, and then just deleted me through the lower plate and set me on fire. This is what happens to AVRE things, right? But yeah, having the pen to be able to, going for the gold marks is always about, it's the same as 3 marks really, it's always about those fine margins and making sure that you are making the most of every single aspect of the tank that you can. Making sure that the gun doesn't sit still for very long, and making sure that you're constantly keeping damage ticking over, whether that's assistance or raw damage, and keeping yourself in the game without throwing away too many of your hit points, because obviously if you bleed too many hit points, a lot of the time it makes it really awkward for when you need to be aggressive and push the tempo to be able to get more assistance and more damage. So in terms of a crew on the old E50, it's the same as what I run on the E50M as well. Born leader, rapid reload, sixth sense, situational awareness, track mechanics, steady aim, run and gun, off-road driving, and the controlled impact. Controlled impact, because the tank rams very, very well, And I like to meme at times with the rammings, although I don't do it too much when I was going for the gold. The off-road driving to help me be able to hit that top speed and not have any hindrance in my ability to ram, again, it's a nice thing to have, especially with a tank that is pretty damn mobile. And the E50M does suffer a little bit with the ground resistances to slow it down a little bit. And then the 2 gun perks in steady aim and run and gun to make the gun as good as it can be. 10% better accuracy is always nice to have, and the run and gun to make it so that I'm 10% more accurate on the move. Now, in terms of equipment, normally on the E50, because the gun is pretty damn solid to use, I don't run vertical stabilizers. I'd normally run the advanced loader, the spall liner to reduce damage, basically reduce the ramming damage that I take so I can go and create those massive rams and not take too much damage myself, and optics to be able to spot for myself. But this ultra sweat build, so that I could get the gold, I basically made sure that this gun is dirty. So I ran vertical stabilizers instead of the controlled impact, because this gun is already dirty, but vertical stabilizers naturally makes it so that I don't have to aim for that long. The gun basically doesn't bloom out that much at all, really, with the vertical stabilizers in, and that's why I took it, because I wanted to be able to just snap shots left, right, and centre, because without the vertical stabilizers, you can't quite snap the shots that well, if I'm honest. And while, it doesn't matter if you're not going for those fine margins, sometimes you really need the ability to just go RBRT and hit, right? So that's the 2 different setups that I'd run with the mentality, basically. And like I say, the fine margins, I want to make sure that I'm just slapping the shots in as much as I humanly can do. And as you've seen so far in this first game, we're on to 7,100 damage with nearly 2,000 assistance. And it's all spotting assist as well, which is great for when you're going for marks, as opposed to getting a split of tracking and spotting, because if you didn't know, when you're going for marks of excellence, if you have 2,000 tracking and then 2,001 spotting damage, only the 2,001 spotting damage will actually count towards your mark of excellence, not the tracking. As you can see with that game, we finished with the Ace Tanker, the Confederate, the Sniper, the High Caliber, 2,082 base XP, 7,170 damage, 2k assistance, that's 9.2k combined, 9.1k combined, in a very heavily tier 10 game for the E50, which is really, really nice. And that puts us on to like 99.9, I think it was. I didn't quite see it. So yeah, 99.9. And that meant that we really, at 99.9, we basically need about 5,000 damage. I think it was when I was going for it. It was about 5,200 damage, something like that. And then once you're going above that 5k, once you're going above that 4.5 to 5k threshold, you go from holding the mark so it doesn't drop at all to all of a sudden going up, and you're starting to see the gains. And the way I always think about it is that once I've played the tank enough that when I'm going for a 3 mark or a 4, we're going for the 4th in this one, once you've played the tank enough, you realise how much damage you don't need to see anywhere. Realistically, what the number is that holds the mark or does the mark or whatever, you get the feeling of, okay, I did 4,500 damage and my mark stayed exactly the same. So if I hit 4,500 damage, at that point, I know that I'm not going to drop. My mark is going to stay the same, and thus I can then be able to push the tempo more. I can take more risks, is the way I'd put it, because naturally I'm still going to take more risks. I'm not going to sit at the back. I'm going to be doing exactly what we're doing here on proc. We've taken this position at E3, which is a really good spotting position. It's risky when there's artillery in play and there's things you can't spot because they can shoot you. Artillery will whittle your hit points down. But I'm maximising my ability to spot people, and that is always very, very nice. And we've got a bit of spotting assist so far with... We actually ended up tracking the E75, which gave us an absolute butt ton of spotting, which now means that it's a bit awkward when I am actually spotting things, because my assistance now is split between my... split for my mark, essentially. But yeah, so you still take the risks to get the damage, but there's those ultra-high risk moves that you might not do if you're pushing for that 3rd mark of excellence and you want to hold on, essentially. And once you hit the threshold where you're thinking, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to drop now. My mark is safe where it is. I'm now pushing. Everything is gains. That's where you go, right, now I'm going to make the plays, the aggressive plays. I'm going to get to the points where I'm pushing my spotting, pushing my damage out. Where there's the risk that I could get shot from poking a little bit too much, I'm going to poke anyway to try and get that damage, because I know that if I did end up taking that risk and getting shut down, it doesn't matter. My mark's going to hold anyway, and I can just go into the next game and obviously still get wrecked in the next game and lose a massive amount anyway. But you get the point. When there's potential there, you want to try and maximise the potential. And again, a map like Prokhorovka for a medium tank with decent view range, good gun depression, and a good gun is always the time for massive gains. Proc is always great for this because you can take good positions, and if you have enough, if your team plays ball enough, you can get so much assistance from it. So you can see the Leopard 1 gets spotted up. We tried to go for the track there because we have at least 12 or 1300 tracking assist as far as I could remember it actually happening, and that was on that E75. So what I was trying to do was just track the Leopard, and therefore when he got shot in that position he was in, I'd get more. But we're up to 2.6k damage with 2.1k so far, and I'm thinking, you know what, with that 1400 tracking that we've got on the 75, we're up to 4k damage, which means that I need probably another 500 to 1,000 to guarantee that I am not going to drop whatsoever. So we're just watching where we're going, watching what's going off in front of us. The 75 gets spotted. That Leopard pumps a shot into the side of our turret. Okay, not good times. He gets spotted, though. This guy needs to die because he's the one that he won't get spotted. Well, he's already proved that he wouldn't get spotted when he fired, so he just needs to get gone. We get a shot into him, and I'm now at the point where I'm thinking, okay, I'm definitely at the point now where I'm holding. We only have to push it, like, by 0.5, so I probably need, like I say, about 5,500 damage, maybe 6, to make sure guaranteed, because the marks are fickle things, and, you know, sometimes it goes wrong. So we're just waiting for people to spot for us at this point, because the heavy tank, it's all about patience, because there's a heavy tank pushing straight down the one line, so things are going to get lit up. And there we go, the 705A gets lit up. He's sideways on, and once again, I know that I'm probably at the point where I'm a little bit safe in terms of my mark progress, so instead of just trying to maneuver for a safer angle to shoot that 705A, I just decided, screw it, I'm going up on top of the ridgeline to get the shot into him. And now I'm more in the situation, we're at 4.2k raw, with that 1400 tracking we got, we're probably looking at 5.6, and now it's time to go in, because I'm thinking, you know what, I think I've got it now. I think this is it. We're pushing it over the line, so we're just going to push aggressively down. We shut down the M60. We got a shot into the side of the E75 when we came down. We're up to 4.7k damage, and like I say, we're what, 6.1k combined now, and there's a near full health 260. So we're going to try and push our luck and push some more damage into this guy. But I don't want to die. He fires, and now is the perfect time to come over. He gets tracked. We try and get shot into his lower plate, but it bounces. And once again, we're just waiting for him to fire. He ends up shooting the guy that was tracked in front of him. We get a shot into his side, which tracks him, which is great, because that means any more assistance that gets into him now from my team is good. We risk it for a biscuit, because I'm like, yeah, this guy's going to die. We managed to get the shot in just as he fires. Unfortunately enough for me, because he's firing heat, he got his heat round absorbed. And finished the game with 5.5k damage, 2.6k assistance, the ace tanker, the 100% mark of excellence of the 4th marks, sniper, this Confederate medal, 1821 base XP. And yeah, it's really nice to get the gold mark on this tank, even if I don't like the gold marks, I just don't think they look very good. And yeah, I do really wish that the gold marks were like, oh yeah, if you hit 100%, you can just unlock to change the mark to whatever colour you want. I'd take that, because I don't like the gold. Especially on these German marks, I think they look terrible. So I just wish I could change it to like yellow or green or blue or red, you know, something like that. But hey, that's asking for something that very little people will care about. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!